What is the role of a PTA? What do I do all day? And what will be expected of you if you want to become a PTA? What's up guys, my name's Antonio and I work in physical therapy, and in this channel we talk about the ins and the outs when it comes to physical therapy. And in this video we're going to be talking about what is the role of a PTA. And currently right now I'm at work. I just got here. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning here in Michigan, and it's a beautiful day out. It's kind of foggy, but we don't get these nice days here in Michigan that often. But anyways, I just got to work, so I need to grab my stuff here out of the car. I don't know how I'm gonna grab all this. Ah! There's so much. You know what? I'm gonna have to make a couple trips. I already can feel it now. Oh, got it. All right, I'm gonna roll with this. Today we're gonna be talking about like what things specifically, each step of my day, like what's required of me, and what things that I do and what things that could maybe help you out, give you an idea of what it's like working in this field. And also just another thing I recently did, I made these shirts. They say determined physical therapist assistant, and I just made them. And if you want to get one to either like support this channel, or if you want to support physical therapy, if you're proud to be a PTA, then consider getting one because they're awesome. So why wouldn't you? Here, I'll show you what they look like. Can you see this? I can't even see what I'm looking at right now. Look at that. Look at that. Awesome, right? Oh, my one of my friends has one, Leah Carynn. She's thebomb.com. Look her up if you want to follow her on her channel, but she just got a shirt and she says that the girl shirt runs a little small, so if you want to get a girl shirt, then consider going up a size. So the first part of your role as a PTA is to communicate with the PT. So before you see any patients, before you do any treatments, anything like that, it's best to communicate with the PT so that you have specific interventions and know where you're going to take that treatment session. I've seen in some clinics where the PT and PTA don't communicate, which in my head makes no sense, because what was the whole point or the whole purpose of the evaluation if the PTA and the PT don't communicate that information so that you're on the same page of where to go with that patient. So after you get the rundown of all the information from that patient from the PT, then what you're going to want to do is formulate some interventions, like what you're going to do with that patient. So instead of having this blanket approach of just throw a bunch of exercise at the patient and do kind of a general approach, the reason of the eval is so that you can get specific interventions that would most help that patient meet their own specific goals. So if the patient wants to get back to walking and they just had a total knee replacement, then maybe you'd be giving them exercises specifically to help them start walking. So another part of your role as a PTA is to be able to give interventions. Another part of your role as a PTA is to be able to progress those interventions. So if so say that same scenario again, you have a total knee patient who wants to get back to walking. Maybe you would start the patient, if they can't even move or get out of bed very good, maybe you would start that patient off with some straight leg raises, so where he's raising their leg. But what you would do from there is progress them. Try to make your progressions functional. So instead of just adding more weight to his leg when he does leg lifts, maybe get him up standing, maybe getting him taking a few steps, maybe getting him marching in place. Like, make it functional, make it make sense to what his goal is. And if his goal is wanting to get back to walking, then do exercises that promote that, and then progress to meet other goals or to do that, rather than just increasing the weight every time or the resistance of the exercise. Also, while you're giving interventions and giving different treatment ideas, sometimes the PT actually will recommend what they want you to do with the patient. So they say, hey Tony, give this a try in your next treatment session. And it's not, I know sometimes people get this idea in their head that it's like a hierarchy, that the PT is above the PTA and we just do everything the PT say. It's not like that at all. It's more of like a relaxed communication where, you know, I get feedback from the PT and I also give feedback to the PT of how the treatment's going. So we kind of bounce off each other, and it's more of a team effort to meet the patient's needs. Not that there's a hierarchy system that they think they're better than us because they had more schooling, something like that. We're all on the mutual same level, trying to just get the patient back to what they want to do. So, Megan just walked in. So, we're going to take a pause for a minute. We're going to treat some patients, and I'll catch up with you after I'm done treating some patients. Awesome. Yep, later. So that patient just left now, so I have a little bit more time. So another part of your role as a PTA is modalities and knowing how to use modalities. So modalities are things such as like a cold pack, ultrasound, e-stim, like electrical stimulation, or like hot packs. So here you can see we have our hydrocollator. That's where we keep our hot packs at. Being a PTA, you have to know how to administer modalities, so you have to understand how to use those. But a tip I would give you is that you only have 60 minutes with a patient, so you want to make the most effective use of your time. So if instead of maybe having the patient sit on a cold pack for 15 minutes of their treatment session, maybe if they're able to ice themselves at home, if they're able to use an ice pack at home, then maybe you could use that 15 minutes in therapy to do something else, to assist with stretching them, to give them critiquing their form with an activity. So make it more valuable. Make a good use of your time with it. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the music's on in the gym, so hopefully it's not too distracting when I'm speaking. But to jump off of that modalities, something that goes along with that is safety. So when you're administering modalities, you have to be safe when using them. And that's a huge part of your role as a PTA. So when you take the National Physical Therapy Assistant examination to get your license, a huge component of that is just knowing safety. So knowing precautions, knowing contraindications, knowing how, like for example, when you administer a hot pack, you have to layer it with towels. So you have to know how many layers of towels do you need if the hot pack is on a patient versus under a patient, things of that nature. So safety is a huge component of that, and there's a lot of tests on the national exam that include safety. And I feel like the two biggest things that you'll see is safety on the national exam and also what is the best intervention. That's why I always speak about what is the best bang for your buck. Like out of all these interventions that you can do, which one is the most successful or the most beneficial to use with that patient. So safety is a huge component of that. You're gonna need to know that as well. That's part of your role as a PTA. Now, another part of your role as a PTA is continuing education. You have to stay up to date on your education, whether that's reading PT articles, whether that's listening to podcasts, whether it's taking continuing education courses. You have to stay up. That's a part of your role as a PTA. Now, I plan in the future to make another video on just strictly continuing education because I know what it is for Michigan. I know what the requirements are, but I want to research it a little more to find out about other states. That way I can maybe help you out a little bit if you don't live in Michigan. But also, another part of my role that I do is knowing how to use equipment. So you have to know how to use equipment. You have to know how it works, how it functions, what it does. So that's a part of your day, but not only knowing how to use equipment, but also maintaining and cleaning equipment. So something we do here in therapy is like wipe down tables, making sure everything's clean. So we'll spray it down and we'll clean it up as well as we go. So that is a part of my job, is cleaning and keeping our equipment looking nice and pretty so that everyone is clean and healthy and has fun. So that's another part. And then the last thing I would say to sum up this video, another part of my role is to write notes. So that's what I gotta sit down and do here, is write my documentation now. So I have a video on that and I'll link it up in the description so you can see that. All these things are basic parts of my role as a PTA when working in an outpatient clinic. So this will look a little bit different if you're in an inpatient clinic like a hospital or something like that, but I hope it was helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comment section if you liked seeing my day-to-day bits and pieces of it, and let me know give me some feedback. I don't even know. So that was it for today. That was the role of a PTA. Peace.